Alisha Magnus Lewis here with the Los Angeles Tribune, and I have the absolute pleasure of sitting here with Dr. Alisha Das, who is a spiritual intuitive, an author, and a podcast leader that has interviewed some of the foremost individuals in their arena, including Marianne Williamson, just to name a few. We're going to get into your podcast in a little bit, but Alisha, you're also a new author published through Hay House. Your book is coming out in 2025, and you connect with angels and you connect with guides, and you are divinely protected in so many ways. Alisha, what was your journey like and your experience like as you recognized and began to understand your connections with the spiritual world and the angels and the guides that are all around us?
You know, Alisha, we both still get a kick out of that.
I love this.
Yes,
Alisha and Alisha spelled the same way. Can
exactly.
you imagine?
The first time
I know,
met
right?
anybody that way. Alisha, it's really been lifelong. When I was very young, 3 or 4, I had some very traumatic experiences, and what kept me whole was angels. And they were the kinds of things where it could have really easily led to lifelong trauma, and instead, I started speaking to these monolithic, beautiful beings that were as intimate as my own family. I started speaking to them in their own language. Now, at that age, I didn't really know who I was speaking to, but I knew that that was where my safety was. And a bit later, when I was a child, I started sharing things with my family, with classmates, things I couldn't know, but I did, and it scared them. You know, this is rural Indiana. And so I learned to keep that to myself. And I really closed off my sight for a while, and then I had these experiences that caused me to open it up again, but to understand that they were sacred, to be held sacred until I left the home. And then I started finding lots of like-minded people, was on several different spiritual paths, and so I found one that, like me, was an amalgamation of East and West. And I started having this incredible archangelic awakening where I started hearing the language again and experiencing my own archangelic heritage as clearly, or just about as I'm sitting here. And then I started experiencing how tangible spirit, God, protection, higher guidance could be through these beings. And I coupled that with my spiritual path, which, as mentioned, I became an ordained minister at 25, as well as following this Eastern path of initiation. So I'm half English and half Indian, East Indian. So to me, all paths lead to God, right? As long as we are always choosing that highest voice, choosing love, right? And so I then started working with individuals, and when the list got too long, with groups, working these techniques so that people could experience heaven on earth in a grounded way, so that their daily lives were transformed through their own archangelic heritage, love, access, and wisdom.
Wow, I just feel warm tingles as you say that. And you know, there are people, intuition, there are people that have gifts. Most people have gifts, but like you said, when you were younger, you kind of closed off from them. How can people start to understand what gifts are unique to them and to embrace the experiences that they may be feeling and may not understand but are around them, instead of push them away, because that is a part of who they are?
It really very much is, and I'm very passionate about this. I love to cheerlead people to finding their unique gifts, because to me, we're only fulfilled to the extent that we live God's life for us. That we follow that numinous higher voice within us. So what I would say to people, if because we all have that sense that just under the surface is an entire domain.
Even if we don't know what it is.
Even
just that little feeling that we might have.
Exactly, that intuition. And I would say to people, first, get support, find a community, find a mentor, read books. There's so many incredible spiritual books. I would say read books from really well-respected, mostly, there's a lot of books by masters, of course, the Bible, of course, the Kabbalah, the Rumi, etc. And then read books from people that make your heart sing, where you just pick it up and you go, there's something in here.
I don't know what it is, but I want to flip the page and find out.
I gotta just, there's something calling me. It's like there's a beam of light coming out of these pages. Yeah. So books can be a mentor, friends, and then, if I had to distill it into one tip, which of course there's many, I would have to say, realize that you're perceiving spirit, and you always are, with subtle spiritual sensing. So give yourself the benefit of a doubt, and sit in quiet. It doesn't have to be long, you don't have to meditate, but sit in quiet and just be aware of what is the sense. Maybe you know God. Maybe you see a vision. Maybe you have a kinesthetic, a bodily sense. Maybe you hear wisdom or guidance or a heavenly sound. Just be aware. And then here's the big tip.
Okay, I'm ready.
Trust it.
Ooh, can we say this again? Because oftentimes you do all the steps and then you can say, nope, I don't trust it. I don't know what this is.
Exactly.
And I turn around. So.
See, here's the deal. God, angels, Christ, Buddha, whatever we want to call it. Yeah. And again, this is my passion of, it's all love.
Yeah.
It's all love. So, spirit is always going to come to us with love and goodness. Yeah. So we can trust that voice. And here's the deal, just like going to the gym and 5 pounds, right? And then you keep building that muscle and it's 35 pounds, right? So trust the voice, check out the guidance, follow it, and you go, my gosh, I was divinely protected. Oh my goodness, the synchronicity, that sign, that person.
Because when you lean in, oftentimes you feel that and you see that, and when you don't, it's not to say, oopsie daisies, but it's not the same as when you lean into it and you trust that voice, that feeling, that knowingness.
It's trusted, and then you want to not leave your mind at the door. You want to go with a higher mind, but you want to discern the highest voice and then trust it and follow it and keep following it and keep following it and keep following it, and you'll have a breadcrumb of golden light all the way into the heavens. You
have your breadcrumbs for life. So. Yes. Alisha, you are a spiritual intuitive, you facilitated workshops, you have a really remarkable, fascinating podcast. Can you talk about why you wanted to start your podcast? And when you're interviewing people like Marianne Williamson, who you've interviewed, what is it that you want people to experience and experiencing you and the person that you're interviewing coming together?
I want them not so much to experience us. I mean, yes, I've had these incredible jewels. Yes, of course, I want them to experience them. I want people to experience themselves. I want people to go, oh my goodness, I am divine. And they'll hear it from, they'll hear it from Marianne, or they hear it from Jack Canfield, or they'll hear it from Neale Donald Walsch, or John Gray, right? Because people will hear that spiritual nugget from one person in a way that they couldn't hear from another person. Yeah. That's why I love having a wide, and I honestly, the podcast did me. I wasn't planning on it. It started as a radio show, and then because Marianne did it, then Sonia Choquetta did it, and then all these people, and I have to thank my mother. Because she grew up with a lot of politicians and in and out of the White House and things, and she treated the gardener exactly the same as the senators in and out. And so for me, I just love people, and I'm fascinated with people, so I can talk to these influencers in a way where it's just God to God.
Yeah, just that connection and that feeling. And I love that you said it's. You learn so much by hearing others, but the true evolution of self in your own journey is what you hear and then how you can reflect upon that for how it evolves you as a person within. So I love that you shared that, because that's so important. What are maybe 2 gems that were shared during any one of your podcast episodes that you're like, if they didn't hear the podcast episode, I want them to know these 2 gems. These are so good. I'd have to share.
Just 2, Mama.
I know. Well, we can come back later and do some more, but just 2 for now.
All right, I'm gonna give it to God to give us the 2. Well, you mentioned Marianne a few times, and she's been on twice, and is potentially going to be on a 3rd time in a few weeks. And she came on right before, literally right after she'd announced her her 2nd presidential run. And I said, "Why, Marianne? You're at the top of the mountain. You have been for decades. Why go in the belly of the beast?" And she said, "Because my soul would shrivel if I didn't." Wow. And to me, there comes a point where, to paraphrase Anais Nin, it becomes more painful to remain coiled in a bud than it is to bloom.
Yeah.
And so it's really, I want to look at you and say, follow your calling. Follow your calling. You know, my family lives in North Carolina, Asheville actually, where the hurricane happened, and they're all fine. We were on this crazy hike. They're all adventurers, my family. We're on this crazy hike. We're like, okay, I might die now, but and the guide said, so we're at like this big dive off a cliff, and right, we're in the wilderness. And he said, I said, we're old for this, and he said, I've led hundreds of people through this. He said, no one has ever regretted jumping. They've only regretted not jumping. He said, you can go around.
I take back my, it wouldn't be me. Maybe I gotta jump.
Yeah, lots of people.
He
said lots of people go around. But when he said that, I never forgot it.
Yeah.
No one, I think it's true. I think we don't regret. Now you want to discern if the voice is saying, don't jump off that cliff, dummy. You know.
Listen to the voice.
Yeah, listen to the voice.
And do what you can.
Right.
Check in with yourself and see what you know. But also be open to taking that risk walk, that risk jump. It's
all about service. If we're guided, so was I terrified to start this? Of course, it's a podcast. Yeah. Was I terrified to write the book? Was I? Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
You know, but and as you know, I'm here coming straight from the fires, LA fires, but when I followed that voice, and the voice said, "Be here," and so I don't ever recall regretting following that higher voice.
Wow, because it comes from a place, you talked about Marianne Williamson in her book, A Return to Love. She has that quote that I found myself actually saying to myself when I meditated this morning. But my deepest fear is not that I'm inadequate. My deepest fear is that I am powerful beyond measure. It is my light, not my darkness, that most frightens me. And so many people have such gorgeous and beautiful light, but it can almost be frightening. It can be a little scary because you're like, whoa. Or when you listen to that voice and the outcome is what it is, it's like, whoa, how can it be, right? Like you're guided by something beyond you. So how can people kind of learn not only to just trust themselves, but to find comfortability in knowing that they're not alone, that there are guides guiding them, and that when they choose to take certain steps that are for their good, they're allowed to experience that goodness, that joy that comes from within when they really walk into that.
Gosh, I feel so blessed to have clairvoyant sight, and many of us do, of course, in this film. And if you could see the angels and the guides and the light around you, I can't say you would never fear, because we're human. This level is challenging. These bodies are very mortal. But I can say you wouldn't feel alone. And so that would bring me to my second tip. You said pick 2. And this is kind of an amalgamation of several, especially the more spiritual leaders that I've had on the podcast, which is, and I'm even going to go back to angels. Do you know the most repeated phrase biblically of angels?
What is it?
Fear not.
Wow.
So, because when they come, they are awesome, right? God is awesome. And we think, oh, of course God is going to be cuddly and warm. Yes, and awesome and mind-blowing. And so when you start to go into that awareness of spirit, when you start to hear like, okay, baby, go do that thing you're afraid of, right? Don't expect it to be comfortable. Right? As it said, nobody grows in their comfort zone. So realize that it's going to feel expansive, big, scary, but that one that is guiding you is also that one that is leading you and caring for you and protecting you. And so don't expect it to be comfortable or to be like, sitting and like you and I are talking on a couch with a friend. It may be magnificent, and yet that magnificence, well, you would give anything for it because that is the truth of who you are, and you are that magnificent. You are sourced of the same substance of archangels and God itself and Christ and Buddha, etc. You are sourced of magic. This is who we are. How could it not be?
This is who we are. How could it not be? So, Alisha, you have an amazing podcast. You're also an author, an Hay House author. Your book is coming out in 2025. It's about angelic guides. But what was it about the book experience and your message that you're like, I've taught workshops, I have my podcast, I've connected with people on the radio, but I really want to put this into a book?
Honestly, it was, again, that was a God thing. I was guided to write the proposal, and then I think it took me my whole life to write this book, and this is the book I was born to write. And it is the first of two. I have thankfully a 2-book deal with Hay House, and I didn't pull back. Like this book is my life's work, and it's very much empowering people. Go forward. Be the God you are. Be the archangel that you are. And it's not safe. This book is not playing it safe.
Don't play it safe. If there's a message we've heard today, it's don't play it safe, but in a warm way, right?
Oh, yeah, in a loving way. Because
right.
love will always surround you.
Yeah.
And so I was guided to write the proposal and sent it to a lot of agents, and oh my goodness, Alisha, I could paper a wall with rejection slips because, again, the book is not safe, and it is an advanced book, and I would get these messages back from these big agents saying, love the book, could you just, dilute it a little bit? Could you just pull back? Love the book, could you just take out this or that chapter?
Then you don't love the book because you're trying to change me a little bit.
Well, they did love aspects of it. Yeah. It's like, I had to follow that voice.
Yeah.
And I kept hearing from the angels, we have your agent, we have your publisher. Oh. I'm like, really? Because I could wallpaper the windows behind us with rejection slips. And then on the same day, Reed Tracy from Hay House called me, and Bill Gladstone, who was a legendary agent, agented Eckhart Tolle and all the big spiritual authors, both called me on the same day. Wow. I don't know what the astral, but the thing is I waited. Yeah. Because I kept hearing.
And you trusted that voice within, and you just kept believing in yourself,
I kept believing in God's calling to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And believing in that voice, and now your book is coming out, and that's such a important share, because there are people that they have something that was put in their heart that they, whether it's a book, a business, taking that risk to do something different, cut their hair, wear a different color, whatever it may be, right? It could be different, but it's not allowing what other people are saying, but just having that knowingness and that trust to lean in and say, I'm doing this, and not only am I doing this, I don't want to change parts of it to be accepted. I get to do this in the way that I was guided to do it, and trust in that space and that knowingness. So that's so key.
It really is, and it's really trusting that voice, because it's sometimes the voice is okay. Make it a little more accessible here. Go forward here, pull back here. And so again, it's trusting Source, because Source will not mislead us.
Yeah. And it can feel scary if you don't know what's going on, but you will not be
I was terrified a lot writing the book.
You're like, wait a minute.
I received the book, right? Yeah. I received it, and like I might have written this book, and they're like, yeah, no, we're going for it, and I have been shocked. Like when I just talk about the book, if I talk about it in kind of a safe way, like it's okay. But when I say it's your angelic ancestry is the name of the book. Discover your archangelic name, heritage, and higher purpose. And it is ancestry.com for the angelic realm. So it's really opening to your own archangelic essence and acumen, and bringing it forward into your human creativity. To greater evolve your consciousness of God, your spiritual consciousness. And, that's not the safest phrase, but when I really tell people what it is authentically, they get it.
They get it. They're like, oh, that's good.
even like I'm in line at the grocery store or whatever. You know?
I love that. And for you, so you have your book coming out, you have your podcast, you're in the film, The Pillars of Power, 5 Hidden Secrets to Success, produced by the Los Angeles Tribune Film Division. What was it about the Pillars of Power that made you say, yes, I want to be a part of this experience?
Well, again, it was really following that voice. And I talked to Donna about it, and it was all a God thing of how we connected. And it was that I really shared with her authentically who I am and what I'm about. And she's like, yeah, got it. Don't dilute it. Clear.
Yes, like, let's go. And for you, your message in the film is powerful, I have to say.
Thank you.
What is it about what you've shared? There's 5 pillars of power, but what is it about what you've shared of the pillars of power that you really want people to understand, not because you said it, but because it can give them that viewpoint within that they can just go down in their own journey?
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Well, 2 things. And see, there's me trusting spirit, which I want y'all to do even more.
Yes.
Because I don't know what the 2 things are. I heard 2 things, so I said 2 things. Now we're both going to find out together.
About to find out together. Let's see. I'm excited.
The first thing is, I'm really passionate about people realizing that with their manifesting and their attraction and their law of attraction, to always include the highest good. Called like, visualize exactly what you want, call it forward, manifest it, and include the highest good. Because it could be like, I'm visualizing this, and God's going, no, it's this, right? So I always want to visualize and to call in the light and always add for the highest good. So that I'm always in alignment with that one that knows a heck of a lot more than me.
Yes, because you've been here before. You have help.
Yes, we all have help. And we have these eyes. They have all the eyes.
They can see. They have the aerial view. We can see what's in front of us.
Exactly. So that would be the first thing. So now we've all discovered what the first thing is. And the second thing is, you are God incarnate, spirit incarnate, the universe fully restored, love itself. This is who you are. It is your heritage to know that. Come forward. This is what this film is presenting to you, is the opportunity to come forward, because we are in need of you fully manifesting. We can't do this without you. We need all of you. Come forward, beloved, and know that we can witness your divinity. But more importantly, you must witness your divinity and come forward.
You must witness your divinity and come forward. Oh, I just got warm tingles all over. Alisha, what is a message that you have on your heart that you just want people to know about? I know there's a lot. We're going to get into experiences that you've been experienced recently, but what is it on your heart that you really just want people to know right now?
Can I let Spirit speak?
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. We are always, always with you. You are never alone. Smile. Be playful, even in the midst of trial. For know that everything is walking you home. Everything is happening for you, not to you. Know that God loves you, even and especially know that we witness the trials you face and the tribulations and your secret fears. And we pour the balm of seeing you upon that. Know that we archangels are always with you. We guides in spirit in all the forms of love, all the faces of love. Always with you. And we're calling you into your greater magnificence in simple ways. Start now, simply. It doesn't have to be a big stretch. It could be simply asking a question of that highest wisdom and trusting the answer you receive. And we will amplify that question to spirit and convey your prayers to the highest heavens. You were born the beloved, and to this awareness you return. We love you. You are love. And all that is love. Amen.
Wow. Start now. Wow. Start now. So thank you so much, Alisha. It's been fantastic speaking with you today. You've shared so much. I want to shift a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it is at this time right now, it is January 2025. We're in Los Angeles. It has been what I can only express as wow of a week.
Yeah.
The last 7 days in particular, we're in Los Angeles where the wildfires broke out. There were 6 wildfires that broke out all across Los Angeles County, started in the mountains near homes, impacted towns.
Near my home.
It impacted your home. You live...
No, baby, it started a mile from my home.
A mile from your home in the Pacific Palisades, in flames, but your home was safe. It was in an enclave in the midst of it all. What were you experiencing?
Can I tell you what I'm experiencing right now? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, yeah.
I am completely experiencing a deja vu right now.
Wow.
You talking about it, me being in this position. So clearly this was meant to be.
Wow.
Which is a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
And I wrap my arms around all of us who've been experiencing this. But tell me your question now.
No, like what? I mean, I remember I flew in to LA on Tuesday. I saw the smoke. I reached out to you immediately when I looked up on Google and I saw where the fires were occurring. But what were you experiencing in that time as someone that started so near the epicenter of the Palisades fire?
Yeah, well, first of all, I have to say that everything that is in the pillars of power and everything we're talking about is real, and I practiced. I had to. And thank God for a lifetime of spiritual momentum, because that carried me when I needed carrying.
Yeah.
So, in the Palisades, which is right next to Malibu, I don't want to say we're used to fires, but they happen often, and it's never been close enough where I've ever actually had to evacuate before. So this fire started a little over a mile from my home. And we had no idea how big it was. They weren't saying anything, and I was scheduled with clients, so we were just on evacuation warning, right? And then my son left before me, and so he panicked. I was asking him to wait, and wanted to throw things in the car, and ironically I had unpacked my go bag. You always have to have a go bag packed, and so he left before me, and so then I just jumped in a car driving after him, and I had no idea where he was. There was a fire road, but unbeknownst to us, the fire had started at the fire road.
Wow.
It's not like we knew